Welcome to Accounting Marketing Doesn't Suck. Join host Hugh Duffy as he takes you behind the scenes with successful accountants, CPAs, and industry elites in conversations about growing a more profitable business. This podcast is meant to prove that accountant marketing truly does not suck, and in fact can provide you with new skills to improve your effectiveness so you can learn how to develop a business that you want to run, not a business that's running you.
Hello and welcome to the Accounting Marketing Doesn't Suck podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Build Your Firm, an accounting marketing firm that was started back in 2003 and helps accountants work smarter, not harder. I'm your host, Hugh Duffy, co-founder of Build Your Firm, and on today's show, we'll be talking to Angie Grissom, president of the Rainmaker Companies. I'd like to share some insights on Angie's background and what the Rainmaker Academy has done before launching into the podcast. Angie is a graduate at Middle Tennessee State with a degree in marketing and pre-law. Angie has consistently been recognized by Accounting Today magazine as one of the top 100 most influential people in accounting, a top 25 thought leader, and a top 40 under 40 recognized person as well. Angie has a regular column at Accounting Today known as He Said, She Said, covering gender, generational, and leadership issues. Rainmaker serves both the accounting as well as the legal industry. With that not so brief introduction, it's my pleasure to introduce Angie Grissom. Welcome, Angie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome aboard, and looking forward to this discussion today. In your words, can you paint a picture for our listeners about what you're trying to accomplish at the Rainmaker Companies?
Absolutely. Well, the Rainmaker Companies consists of three service lines. And if you think of the word ACT, A-C-T, it's a good overview of what we do. So we have alliance services. We have 6 different niche or niche alliances. We are helping our clients become as best prepared as possible to face the industry changes that are ahead of us. So as you know, we are dealing in an arena that is, especially in accounting, that is moving from purely compliance to more advisory and more consultative. We're more focused on the unique needs of businesses because our clients are becoming more complex. Businesses are complicated. There's more and more competition. And what helped firms survive and thrive even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, is simply not going to continue to work. So at the Rainmaker Companies, we are helping firms get equipped and ready to be able to serve clients in a way that will set them apart from competition. We want our clients to look at their clients, at business owners and leaders, regardless of the industry or niche, in a way that helps them look holistically at the way to solve their problems through better communication, through looking holistically at a business and finding ways to partner with them so that they are truly the most trusted business advisor. So our goal is to always be at the table when there's an opportunity for firms to look at innovation, for growth, for development of people through either consulting, coaching, training, or alliance services.
And on the leadership and development side, what size firms are you working with?
Goodness, it's really all over the board. We work with the top firms in the country under the Big Four. All the way down to what you would consider small to mid-sized firms. So we might go into a firm and help them to redefine what their culture is through 5-star client service training. And that might be a firm with revenues of $3 million to $10 million. We might go into a top firm and help them to create a growth strategy and work on accountability and niche planning and industry planning with firm leaders. So it's really all over the board. It just depends on the size of the firm and the need and the scope.
And from a marketing perspective, how are the CPA firms that you work with different from the legal industry?
That's a really great question. We're just getting started over the past couple of years in legal, and I would say that there are many similarities in terms of differences. When we attend the Legal Marketing Association meetings and other meetings, we hear from the legal marketers that they feel that the accounting marketers are actually a little bit more. Not the accounting marketers, but maybe the firms are a little bit more progressive in their approach to marketing than maybe the law firms are. And so there's a difference in terms of the things that have been implemented. I would say accounting marketers over the past 5-10 years have really come a long way. Firms have come a long way in terms of the awareness of the accounting marketers needing to have a seat at the table, which is huge, very, very important. The investments that they've made. And I think that the legal marketers are saying, we want to be part of that. We certainly want our firms to be more progressive. So I would say maybe a little bit more progressive in some firms in terms of the investment and other things that we're seeing, which are really interesting. Obviously, accountants, CPAs and CAs differ from lawyers in the way that they're built. And so we might be having a facilitation or a training around a concept, and we might use a case study for both, and they're viewed very, very differently. Where accounting professionals might view it one way and get 1 point, when the legal participants might solely get focused on the company in the case study and start reciting different laws and precedents around that, and the message completely gets lost on them, which is kind of funny. So as we're moving into legal, we're just more cognizant of the way that people process information because it's very different. But the bottom line, there's a need in both, and a lot of the same challenges apply. And I can get into many of those if you'd like.
Angie, no, that's fine. I get it. It helps give some perspective. I'm surprised that some of the law firms view the accounting industry as being more progressive. That's interesting. Let's migrate over towards the international side in terms of what you're doing with CPA firms on that front. Can you explain the things you're doing for CPA firms that want to capitalize on international growth?
We want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, BizPayo, which is short for Business Payments Online. Maybe you've seen some of their advertising elsewhere or the feature article in Accounting Today. Here's why accountants across the country are big fans of BizPayo. BizPayo is an online system for sending out engagement proposals and then getting paid on autopilot. If you hate chasing existing clients for payment, then BizPayo is a tool you need to have in your arsenal. Here are some of the amazing reasons why BizPayo is so popular. BizPayo's engagement tool enables you to send out proposals and client agreements. Once approved by your prospective client, it enables you to get paid electronically going forward with less effort, so you don't need to chase clients for payment. BizPayo accepts recurring and one-shot payments online, both e-check, credit card, and debit card payments with less hassle. BizPayo enables you to get paid by credit card and debit card payments at $0 net costs. This is very different than PayPal, Intuit Merchant Services, and other payment systems that take a fee in excess of 3% of each payment to you. BizPayo enables you to recover those fees so you get paid for plastic charge card payments at $0 net cost. BizPayo also syncs with QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop, so all your payments are posted seamlessly. With BizPayo, there's no nickel and dime charges either. There's no equipment costs, no processing minimums, no PCI charges, and so on. So go to bizpayo.com, that's bizpayo.com, and get paid in full like you deserve.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, the world is shrinking due to technology, so there are fewer geographic barriers. People are doing business all over the world because you don't have to do business with somebody down the street because just like the podcast we're on virtually, you can really do as much business as you want. So it opens up the global opportunity. And so a lot of the things that we're doing around growth are applicable to U.S.-based and global operations. And some of the things that we're doing, we are partnered with a lot of global associations. So we are constantly speaking and working with global associations and meeting firms from all over the world who are interested in expanding their business. And so being a part of an association and really helping to make connections with other people is a huge, huge strategic advantage and opportunity, because when you're face to face with people, you're able to build that relationship and then have a level of trust with them to do work with them when you're not in front of them. And so we're involved in a lot of global associations, speaking engagements and webinars and training and program development with a lot of resources. Another thing, we're just trying to educate our clients on the importance of having a broad reach and understanding the importance of having really visibility worldwide, relationships worldwide, perspective worldwide on the way that we serve our clients and one another. So it's a matter of understanding there's a huge opportunity. It comes down to the relationship. You need to be viewed as not U.S.-centric or city-centric wherever you are located. And so a lot of the coaching and training best practices are applicable globally. We have a lot of firms that are located all over the world that are interested in strengthening their ability to recruit talent, strengthening their ability to recruit the kinds of clients, wanting to align themselves with other chartered accounting or CPA firms globally that could be really great referral sources for them. So we really get involved with lots of firms and help to make those connections and help to provide training through, we have virtual modules that talk about business development and building networks to try to connect firms from all around. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for firms that are located all over the world that are interested in international and global growth. And we love to be a part of that.
Wow. Now, the international side, what percentage of your business is on that side versus the other two pieces of your business?
Well, again, we have an international alliance of accounting firms that is part of us called Enterprise Worldwide. And we probably have 30 to 40 members in that group right now, but probably more so than just our Enterprise Worldwide group. We are constantly partnering with other associations like AGN International, like Leading Edge Alliance, DFK, otherwise, where we are having joint meetings. We're training and consulting with the global firms. So the work that we do internationally is not really just limited to our association. It's really, it spans across our modular training, our consulting, and our coaching. And I would say, we probably have a small percentage of overall work that's done beyond the U.S. in terms of training and coaching, but it is growing every single day.
That's great. On the marketing side of things, Rainmaker provides 6 industry niches that I find very fascinating, very interesting, to help firms strengthen their service offerings. Can you explain this for our listeners?
Sure. So Rainmaker Companies has 6 niche or niche specific communities that where we work with CPAs and professionals who are focused in a specific area. So for example, if you are a CPA who is focused in the auto dealer arena, for example, we have a group for you. We have auto dealer, real estate and construction, manufacturing, nonprofit, community banking, and healthcare. And so of these 6 communities, whether, depending on what you're focused on, you would become a member of one of these Rainmaker communities, and you would be placed in a group with peers from all over the country that also focused in a specific niche. So we have several conferences. We have the Super Conference that we move around, usually in June. It's going to be in Atlanta in June in 2019. And at the Super Conference, we have tracks, specific educational tracks for each of these 6 groups. We also have a practice management and growth and technology track. But if you're a member of one of these groups, you would attend our Super Conference in the summer and our Niche Works meeting in the fall, or a fly-in specifically for your niche. As part of these groups, you learn best practices and share best practices from people of varying firm sizes. You focus on industry-specific staff training. We have certification programs like CNAP for our not-for-profit group, where you actually get certified and can go to market with those services. Specific financial benchmarking surveys for the groups. We have thought leaders and consultants that are assigned to the groups. And so the goal is we work with you within the niche and help you create a blueprint for growth within that industry. So in 2018, we launched a program for growth teams within each of these groups. So if you join the manufacturing group, for example, you would go through a workshop where we would help you develop a blueprint to grow your niche and to get connected with other people so that you're not reinventing the wheel when you're trying to grow and serve your niche or develop your people. So listservs, podcasts, resource member relationships, benchmarking data, specific training, communities. Those are the kinds of things that we do with these niche-specific communities. And we don't think that there are any others out there. We don't know of another organization out there that has these niche communities like we do that are organized in this way.
That's great. That's very interesting. And so each of these members, say they participate in the auto dealer or the banking, they have a geographic territory that's exclusive? And how do you define what their market is?
Sure. That's a really great question. The short answer, not really. What we have found is that in Rainmaker communities, whether it's an international association or a niche-specific association, when you begin to create geographic exclusivity overall, what happens to the groups is they end up staying stagnant or even shrinking potentially. What we would like to do is we would like to open up the groups so that we are growing membership so that there is more muscle in these groups and more resources and opportunities. So short answer, not really. However, everybody is sensitive to sharing financial information, competitive information, things like that with competitors in their market. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to have 2 or 3 high-hitting competitors in a market sitting in the same room, afraid to share challenges or opportunities or financial information. So what we've done is we've created a situation where we have breakout groups for those. So for example, if we are in a market like New York City, for example, I mean, there's really no telling how many firms in the New York market are focused on real estate and construction, right? So we're not going to say we're only going to have one real estate and construction firm in New York, but what we might do is we might break it out geographically. We might break it out in terms of a competitive analysis and give those firms an opportunity to participate in smaller groups so that they feel comfortable being in those groups. The good news is we don't run into that a lot. We do honor our members and certainly want them to have privacy and feel comfortable about being in the group, but we are not going to market saying you are the only X firm in this entire market of 14 million people that are able to join, if that answers your question.
No, I now understand. Okay. And let's transition away from the Rainmaker Companies, and I'm going to have you put on your marketing hat. So as you look at what the different CPA firms are doing, what marketing medium do most CPA firms overlook and underutilize?
You know, I thought about this question. I've been asked this before, and I would say that and this may not be answering the question in the way that you want, but I would say that the medium is face-to-face interaction. In my career, my goal and my job has been to communicate directly with managing partners and help them to be more effective strategically. So I ran the consulting division before I ever got into training and coaching, et cetera, et cetera. And so my clients were managing partners, and I understood very early on what made leadership successful in the growth and marketing arena. And a lot of that had to do with in-person meetings with top clients. As I transitioned and worked more with accounting marketers, I found that there was a huge disconnect between strategically what the leadership of the firm was focusing on, as well as what the marketing director and the marketing resources were focused on. And I have found that if you can align the firm leadership with the marketing department, the marketing budget, the marketing professionals, and you can create a campaign where top clients and top relationships get in-person, face-to-face meetings, or even Skype, Zoom video meetings on a regular basis where you're ascertaining satisfaction with what your clients want, how you're doing, what the need is, how you're perceived. There's nothing more valuable than that. Because what that does is it informs marketing in terms of how do they need to communicate the brand? How do they need to communicate success stories? What are the gaps? What are the things that are missing? What are the needs in the market? And there's no better way to do that than in-person, face-to-face meetings with firm leadership and marketing professionals. Instead of guessing what the market needs or guessing what your clients need, get in front of them, work with the leadership, and ask them, and do it every single year.
And from a marketing perspective, what fundamental mistakes do you see consistently across CPA firms?
Probably back to what I mentioned earlier is a misalignment between the firm leadership and strategy and marketing. Marketing should support everything from the kind of client persona that you're going after, how to have the client touch points and best serve them, how to go to market in terms of what the need is, strategically where the firm wants to go. I remember sitting in a room at a CPA association meeting probably 7-10 years ago and having a room of 100 plus brilliant marketers in the room, and me asking the question, how many of you are at the table when your firm leadership does strategic planning? And I think 2 hands came up, and I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, these people, there's such a disconnect. And honestly, I don't think it's the marketing professionals' fault. I feel like sometimes firm leadership looks at marketing and says, okay, you guys help us grow. You go over there in your corner. We're going to go over here in our corner. We're going to talk strategically about projections. And the bottom line, it should be one conversation. And I think that's a fundamental mistake. And when firm leadership begins to look at the brilliant marketing professionals as true leaders in the firm and even actual owners and partners in the firm, I think things start to change.
And what CPA firms, from your perspective, have done a top-notch job at marketing their firm?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. Some that are top of mind, just firms that I'm just so impressed with. Witham is a great one. We've all seen their videos. They have a very coordinated effect with marketing. They invest in growth. Very communicative. Bill Hageman's really great about introducing books that he wants his team to read. So it's really a shared firm approach in terms of growth and client service and marketing. Plant Moran is another one that really invests in their people in terms of marketing and growth. Of course, there's a recent merger with EKS&H. EKS&H is another one, very focused on culture, very focused on growth. Barnes Denig, Chris Perino, excellent firm, very collaborative in the way they work together, and they have their professionals serving their clients, and they have their marketing professionals tied in and their leadership tied in. So, gosh, there's so many, probably too many to name, but there's a handful for you.
That's great. And
Anders is another one.
Okay.
Great firm.
Sure. That's a great one. And within the niche marketing side of things, since you guys have 6 key niches or segments, can you give examples to our listeners of how a CPA firm can dominate their particular niche? I mean, you've seen enough, been exposed to enough, and you're basically, from the inside looking out, what are some of the leaders doing in some of these 6 different verticals that you're in?
That's a great question. We have a general session at our super conference called Niche Superstars that we started last year, and it's going to be a standing session for us, because what we found is that there are certain things that people that have become famous, if you will, in their niche, certain things that they've done. And I would just say, number one, get serious about the niche you want to grow, build a team around you. Do it intentionally so that you have a blueprint and a strategy. You know how many firms or clients you work with, how many you want to work with, average billing, revenue, specialty services. You've got to get out there and become known in that industry or niche. You've got to read everything you can get your hands on, find opportunities for thought leadership, whether they are webcasts or podcasts or regular columns, so that you are known and seen as the expert. Public relations firms can really help with opportunities. One of the gentlemen on our Superstar panel talked about how Wall Street Journal had picked him up and would quote him. A lot of them get nicknames. There's a guy that we work with in New York City known as the Food Dude, who's in the food industry, and he's become famous in his own right. So all of those things, make sure that your LinkedIn profile and your social media presence is in alignment with the subject matter expert that you want to be, and you got to be intentional about it, and you got to go after it and build a team.
Have you found it challenging to truly differentiate a large CPA firm from their competition? Because obviously you work with a lot of the top firms. You mentioned the top 4 as well as some of the, the small and regional firms. But do you find it challenging to differentiate them, recognizing that they're operating in so many different niches, areas of expertise? They have so many different capacities where they can bring or help a client. How do you boil it down and simplify it and enable them to become superior to their competition?
Well, I guess it depends on who's trying to differentiate them. I would say it's not difficult to differentiate your firm if you are focused on the things that are important. Because let's face it, we are not selling widgets. We are selling professional services, and that's us. And each of us individually are unique in our approach. And if a firm can capitalize on the talent, the collaborative co-development approach that they have with clients, they are serious about becoming best in class in client service. They're serious about the niches that they're in. I think you can very easily differentiate yourselves if you know who you want to be when you grow up and you get everybody on the same page. I think you can differentiate, but you got to be intentional about it. You got to develop your people and communicate that vision from the beginning on a regular basis in everything that you do. Client testimonials, your messaging, your marketing, it needs to be unique. It needs to be really about who you are as a firm. And then you got to work really, really hard to support that. If you're going to market saying, we are the firm that's focused on innovation, then prove it. Do you have innovation think tanks for your people? Do you have innovation think tanks for your clients, right? If you were the firm focused on co-development or collaboration? Do you have an innovation center that, like a Cone Resnick in New York, they actually have an innovation center where they bring clients in and they work through strategies. It's incredible. So if you practice what you preach and you're serious about who you are and you work really hard, I think you can absolutely differentiate yourself.
Man, that's fabulous. Angie, I'd really like to thank you for sharing your story, your insights from the Super Conference, from the niche superstar section that you talked about. For our listeners, to learn more about the Rainmaker Companies, I encourage you to visit their website, therainmakercompanies.com. Angie, is there anything additional that you wanted to share with our podcast listeners today?
Well, just to summarize, I think that it's a really exciting time in the accounting space and in the legal space. I think that we have a huge opportunity to differentiate ourselves, to grow, to be best in class. I don't know that the opportunity's ever been greater. It's exciting for me. I love being in the industry, speaking, writing. I just think it's a really great time, and would encourage all of the listeners out there to go out there and go after it and find ways that we can, raise our personal bars and the bars of our organizations and continue to get better.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Angie. If you enjoyed today's show, help us get the word out by leaving a review in the iTunes ratings and review section and mention it to your accounting colleagues on social media. In closing, I'd like to thank Build Your Firm for creating and sponsoring the Accounting Marketing Doesn't Suck podcast. I'd also like to thank Liz Gold with Rhino Girl Media for encouraging us to produce this podcast. I wish all of you to have a great day, and I just want to say goodbye to each and every one of you. Thank you.